The A's announced today that they have a new temporary home as they make their way to Las Vegas. Their lease was up in Oakland after this season, and they were in the process of negotiating with the city of Oakland to possibly stay there and play there while they construct the new stadium in Las Vegas. And before that move can actually be made. They're looking for a temporary home starting in 2025, next season. And they were negotiating with the city of Oakland. They were kind of flirting with Salt Lake City and Portland. But the word kind of going around was that it was really down to Sacramento and playing in Oakland while they wait for their stadium to be ready in Las Vegas. And they announced today that they officially are going to play starting in 2025. They will be playing at Sutter Park, I believe is what they call it. I want to say Rayleigh Field every time because that's what it started out as Rayleigh Field. But yeah, the A's are temporarily moving to Sacramento. They are not going to be referred to as the Sacramento A's. From what I've read today, they're going to be referred to as the A's or the Athletics with no city attached to them for the next few seasons. 3 to 5 seasons from what I've been reading. They're at least going to play 25 and 26 seasons in Sacramento. And if the stadium's not ready in Vegas, which the way things are progressing currently, it doesn't seem like things are moving very quickly there. There were some renderings that the A's were very late on getting out. And they were in the process of trying to find a temporary home, trying to figure out what they're going to do in terms of where they're going to play baseball after this season because they didn't have a home. And Vivek Ranadive, who is the owner of the Sacramento River Cats, he just recently purchased them here before the start of this season. Vivek had just purchased the River Cats. He just bought them last year. And Vivek is good friends with John Fisher, the piece of shit owner for the Oakland A's. And he's helping his buddy out here. A little bit of a bittersweet thing going on for me. I'm a big baseball fan in general. The Oakland A's were my first love growing up as a kid. I grew up in Stockton, and my mom, when she used to go grocery shopping, I used to walk next door to Felix's Cards and Collectibles, or Felix's Comics and Collectibles. It's Felix's. And while Mom was doing the shopping, I would go over to Felix's and bug them. And they had a poster hanging up at the shop that was I don't know if any of you remember this, but it was back in the Bash Brothers days when they were brand new and hot. And I want to say it was McGuire's rookie year. And they had the poster of McGuire and Canseco. They were leaning back on, I believe it was on a limo. And they were dressed like the Blues Brothers, and they were at the Coliseum, and it was the big Bash Brothers poster. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever when I was a kid. I was a big Mark McGuire fan. Loved Jose Canseco. Eventually Ricky Henderson, when they brought him back, I fell in love with him. Stu, Eck. It's kind of a weird thing for me. I'm feeling really heartbroken. Knowing that it's official, that this is definitely officially the last season that the A's will play in Oakland. It's a weird feeling. It's heartbreaking. Fuck John Fisher. It sucks to see. Being an A's fan, I've watched this team heavily since the late 80s. I've watched John Fisher completely destroy this team. And I've watched him intentionally disconnect this team from its fan base and the community. I've seen it. I've watched him do it. He's run low payrolls. He's traded away stars. He's traded away your favorites for pennies on the dollar, for a bunch of prospects that might work out, that if they do work out, you're probably going to see them traded too. So that's the way he's ran his franchise. He's intentionally separated his franchise from its fan base and the community. It's been a thing that he has systematically done over the years. And he's finally getting his way. He's finally getting out of town. And I think the biggest thing that upsets me is that Vivek Ranadive is helping him. I know they're friends, and it's very upsetting to me that Vivek, who saved this team from going to Seattle, is now aiding another franchise in their move out of their town and away from fans that love them. And I don't really know what to think about it. On one hand, again, I'm heartbroken. It sucks. And on the other hand, I see it as an opportunity for Sacramento as a community to show that they can support Major League Baseball, to show that we're not just a one major league sport town, that we can support other major league sports. I just wish it wasn't going down like this. And I just wish that Vivek hadn't given his little buddy, John Fisher, an out. That the way things were looking, it was looking like Salt Lake City, Portland were options. They were probably going to end up getting stuck staying in Oakland. It's the way things were kind of looking. Unless they came to Sacramento. It felt like, at the end, all the noise in Salt Lake City, all the noise in Portland, it felt like it was either you're going to stay in Oakland for 25, 26, 27 seasons, maybe all the way until 2030. With the way things are going in Vegas, they're not exactly flying through the process of the move. They're kind of bumbling and stumbling their way to Vegas, and kind of doesn't really seem like Vegas even wants them. So I'm just upset that I don't know if I'm just upset because it's official now and the A's are definitely leaving Oakland at the end of this season. It's upsetting that the owner of my favorite franchise, the Sacramento Kings, the guy that saved my franchise from moving to Seattle, he's playing a big part in this. He's playing a big part in this. And from what I understand, a lot of it came down to TV money. The A's currently, they're on NBC Sports California. And I'm in I'm about an hour outside of Sacramento. I'm in the Sacramento television market. And I get both NBC Sports California and I get NBC Sports Bay Area. NBC Sports Bay Area has the Warriors and the Giants, and NBC Sports California has the A's and the Kings. I get the A's and the Giants games both. I don't get Warriors games I think I'm too close to Sacramento to get Warriors games. I don't know. For whatever reasons, I get both the A's and the Giants games. Giants are on NBC Sports Bay Area, and the A's are on NBC Sports California, where the Kings games are. So the transition, TV-wise, I'm sure that Fisher had to take less money from the television market in Sacramento compared to Oakland. Like there's no doubt about that. But he doesn't even have to go to a different channel. He can stay on NBC Sports California. They're just playing in Sacramento now instead of Oakland. So from what I heard, a lot of this was being dictated by the television deal and by the television money. And if they had moved there was rumors that they were talking with Portland and Salt Lake City and Sacramento were the kind of finalist of where the A's are going to play beyond this season. And Oakland was in there as well. But I get the feeling that Oakland was in it for the look. Like they were allowing Oakland to remain in the conversation, but I don't think Major League Baseball, their piece of shit commissioner Rob Manfred, I don't think that the A's and their piece of shit owner John Fisher had any intentions at all of playing in Oakland past this season. Regardless. Which makes it a little bit easier for me as a fan to see what Vivek has done and that he has given John Fisher this out and that he's given him this path and he's given him the opportunity to look at what Oakland had to offer and be able to say, you know what? No, we're good. Because I got another deal right over here, just down the road in Sacramento, and I can stay on the same television network. Yeah, I'm going to take less money, but it's not going to be so much less money that I'm losing millions and millions of dollars that I don't think John Fisher has. I don't think he has the money to move to Vegas currently, which is also something that's kind of upsetting with this is I'm wondering if there's been this kind of thought that, well, once Fisher got the approval in Vegas and once they got the okay to build the stadium and they got the public money, there was still a large chunk of money that John Fisher was going to have to put out. And I don't know if he has it. And there was the kind of rumor going around that maybe John Fisher might have to sell the team as a team moving to Vegas because he didn't have the money to make it happen. And I gotta wonder if Vivek's not doing this not only to show that Sacramento can support a major league ball club. And there's word that part of this deal, there was word going in to the negotiation process that Vivek was part of the reason why he's even doing any of this is because it's an opportunity for Sacramento to prove that they can support a major league ball club. And that with that, he wanted to be at the top of the list when it comes to expansion teams. So when the A's in 3 to 5 years, when they move to Vegas from Sacramento, that Sacramento would then be at the top of the list for expansion Makes a lot of sense. I also think that Vivek is positioning himself to be the guy that buys the team, the Oakland A, the A's. Sorry. It's heartbreaking. I think that Vivek is putting himself in a position to be top of the list of expansion. I think that he's putting himself at the top of the list to be the head of the group that buys the A's from John Fisher once they do move to Vegas, because that's what he's doing. He's looking to cash out. He's looking to move this team to up its value. And part of the clause, when Major League Baseball themselves, when they approved the move to Vegas, they put a clause in that contract or in the agreement to allow the A's to move. They're willing to waive the relocation fee, which is trash, that Major League Baseball themselves are behind this move, not helping the situation. But there's a clause in the agreement to allow the A's to move to Vegas that if and probably when John Fisher does move the team and they are in Vegas, and now the value of the team is up here as opposed to down here, and he sells, which is exactly what he's doing. He's looking to cash out. There's a clause that says that dollar amount that he makes off of the sale is heavily, heavily, heavily taxed. So in other words, Major League Baseball as a whole, Major League Baseball, they don't give a shit that the A's are leaving Oakland. In fact, I kind of get the impression that Major League Baseball wants the A's out of Oakland. They're not concerned about the history of the league and not fucking over an entire fan base. They want to make sure that they get theirs and they get their money out of the deal once Johnny Boy decides that he's going to cash out. So I think that's been the biggest problem. Again, I'm a Kings fan, and they were 1st and 1 at the goal line, or 1st and goal at the 1. That's the way it was put on their move to Seattle. And the Maloofs who owned the Sacramento Kings had sold to a group up in Seattle, and they were going to move. The NBA had one of the best commissioners in the history of its league, probably the best commissioner in the history of its league, in David Stern. Maybe possibly one of the best commissioners in all of sports ever, in David Stern. And he wanted to keep the team in Sacramento. And he gave Kevin Johnson, former NBA player Kevin Johnson, the blueprint of how to keep the Kings in Sacramento. And he did that. They did that. They're still here. Part of the reason why they're still here is Vivek Ranadive, which is what makes this whole situation even more upsetting, is that he's helping facilitate this move. He's a big reason why this move is happening. And yeah, you can say that they were leaving Oakland regardless. And you're probably right. They probably were. I'm glad that they're not announcing today that they're moving to Salt Lake City or Portland. But I'm also upset that the owner of my favorite franchise and the guy that helped keep that favorite franchise of mine in town is helping aid this move. And when the Kings were going to make the move, the city of Sacramento had a great commissioner on their side that wanted to keep the team in Sacramento. And they eventually found Vivek Ranadive to purchase the team. And he kept the team here. He built the downtown arena, changed the whole damn city. And the A's don't have that. The A's don't have unfortunately for the A's fan base, we don't have a great commissioner. We got a piece of shit commissioner that that is the worst commissioner in all the professional sports. Like, if you're going to rank him, he's right there at the bottom. Rob Manfred is garbage. And he just signed an extension for some reason. Apparently he's doing a great job. Wish I could do a shit job in my work and get raises for it and extensions and anyway. And so that's a big detriment in all of this, is that when the Kings were looking to move, they had a really, really solid, strong commissioner that didn't want them to move. The A's, on the other hand, have the worst commissioner in all of sports, probably the worst commissioner ever in Major League Baseball, even though Bud Selig was pretty bad. Still, Rob Manfred is trash, and he wants the A's to leave Oakland. So you're not getting any help from the league. And I think that's the biggest difference in seeing the A's leaving Oakland versus the Kings staying in Sacramento. And I got to think that Vivek is not only positioning himself to be at the top of expansion, which makes a lot of sense. This is a great opportunity for the city to show that they can support a Major League Baseball club. This is a great opportunity for Major League Baseball to see if Sacramento can indeed support a Major League Baseball club, because they are going to expand. They do want to expand. And I would think that regardless of if the A's were going to be temporarily moving to Sacramento, regardless of if that was happening or not, with the A's leaving Oakland, I got to think that Sacramento, regardless, would be at the top, near the top of that list. I would also think that Salt Lake City and Portland, who were amongst the finalists here for the temporary home, I would imagine that those cities would also be at the top of that list. So I got to think that Vivek is using this as an opportunity. Yes, John Fisher is using Sacramento. Yes, he is, and it sucks. But I got to think that Vivek and Sacramento is also using John Fisher and this whole mess of a situation to show Major League Baseball that, hey, yes, we can be, if you're looking to expand, you can go ahead and expand here. If you're looking to move the Tampa Bay Rays, move them here. If you're looking to move the White Sox, move them here. If you're looking to move the Diamondbacks, move them here. There's a couple of teams that are possibly going to be looking for homes. And if you're Vivek and you can get to the top of that list of expansion, of relocation, hell, the A's haven't exactly done a bang-up job in anything that they do, but in this move to Vegas, they're not exactly knocking the doors down and just being super impressive about the way they're maneuvering. They've been bumbling and stumbling their way through this whole damn thing. And I've got to think that somewhere in Vivek's mind, that's got to be there. Like that thought has got to be in some of his thought process, in that what happens if they leave Oakland and they get to Sacramento and it's a couple of years in and things aren't going so great in Vegas and the Vegas deal falls apart. They're not going to move back to Oakland. They're just going to stay in Sacramento. So I got to think that that's what Vivek is angling. So he's put himself at the top of the list for expansions, relocation, being the guy that John Fisher turns to when he gets to Vegas and he's looking to sell the team and then cash out. I got to think that Vivek's going to be near the top of that list as well. And if they screw up Vegas, then I got to think that selling to Vivek and letting them keep the team here in Sacramento has got to be right at the top of that list too. So as upset as I am that they are moving, that it is official, that it's actually happening, and as upset as I am that Vivek Ranadive gave his buddy John Fisher an avenue and gave him options in negotiating with Oakland. As upsetting as all that is, I can see why he did it. And not just because he's buddies with John Fisher. Business-wise and putting himself in a position to be the next guy. That's what I think he's doing here. And as upsetting as it is, I can see it at least. Because I don't have any confidence in them making this move to Vegas. Still, even now that they've got a temporary home in Sacramento and that they're definitely leaving Oakland, I still am not confident in Vegas. One, Vegas doesn't even want them. And two, I don't have any confidence in the A's as an organization to not fuck it up. So I got to think that that's what the play is here, that Vivek's not just doing this to help his buddy out. And Vivek also owns the Sawyer Hotel, which is right across the street from Golden One Arena, where the Kings play. And that's where Major League ball clubs are going to stay when they come into town. So he's going to gain from it significantly financially, even if he doesn't get a dime out of being the home of the A's. Even temporarily, even if he didn't get a dime off of that, he's still going to make a shit ton of money off of just having them around. So I can see business-wise why he would do it, but I can also see, not beyond just the surface business stuff, I can definitely see why he's doing this. Beyond helping out his buddy. He's looking to get at the top of the expansion list so that when the league does expand, and they are going to expand, the league has said that they're going to expand. The league has said that once they figure out the situation in Oakland and Tampa Bay, that they do definitely want to expand. They want a West Coast team and they want an East Coast team. And from what I hear, Dave Stewart is leading a group that's trying to get a team in Tennessee, which would be the East Coast team, and they're going to expand somewhere on the West Coast. So if I'm Vivek Ranadive, this is a golden opportunity to, if you can't get the A's, maybe you can get an expansion team. And this is an opportunity for Sacramento as a city to jump up that list. Because I got to think right now, they're probably not ahead of Portland, and they're probably not ahead of Salt Lake City. Because from what I hear, the reason why the A's didn't go to either one of those cities was because of their TV deal. Because, yeah, they're taking less money in playing their home games in Sacramento. There's no question that even though they're still going to be on NBC, I almost said Comcast, that they're going to be on NBC Sports California, that's not going to change. But I got to think that they're not going to get the same dollar amount for playing in Sacramento that they got in Oakland. I'm strongly assuming that they had to take less money in that move. But I also think that it wasn't nearly as less that they would have to take if they went to Salt Lake City or Portland. Because it was just so much more involved. They get to stay on the same damn channel. They don't even have to change that. So I got to think that Vivek is just positioning himself and putting the city in a position to be next. While at the same time, I got to think that in the back of Vivek's mind, he knows John Fisher. He knows how John Fisher operates. He knows John Fisher's a pile of shit. Even though he's his buddy, like, I got some friends that I know they're kind of shitty. Like I just got to think that I just can't help but wonder. I just can't help but wonder if Vivek knows John Fisher very well. And he knows how he operates. And he knows how this whole thing has gone. He knows probably a lot more than we know in terms of how this thing has gone. I gotta think that he's got in the back of his mind that this whole Vegas thing hasn't exactly gone well and is kind of hanging on a thread here. And the city doesn't seem to want him. And they don't seem to be doing a great job themselves. I got to think that he's holding on to the idea that they're going to screw this Vegas thing up and be quote unquote stuck without a city. And then you're in prime position to have them just stay in Sacramento. Because like I said, they're not going to, if it doesn't work in Vegas, it's not like they're going to be in Sacramento 25, 26, 27 season and shit goes south in Vegas and then they move them back to Oakland. Like, that's not going to happen. Or they move them to Salt Lake City or they move them to Portland. That shit ain't going to happen. They're just going to stay in Sacramento at that point, assuming that it goes well and assuming that the city can support it, or assuming that the city shows that they can support it. So, big news today, huge news today for Oakland A's fans. Sad news today for Oakland A's fans. Kind of exciting news for folks that live in Sacramento. I'm sure that there's a lot of non-A's fans that live in Sacramento that are really happy right now. I'm an A's fan that lives in the general Sacramento area, and I'm completely split. I'm totally heartbroken that it's official, that the A's are definitely moving. But at the same time, I see what Vivek's doing. I see what's going on here. Kind of like you can clearly see that John Fisher drove his fans away, just destroyed a whole fan base systematically over the years. I can see what Vivek's doing too. I can see that he's putting himself in a pretty good position here. And he's putting himself in a position for several different avenues. And they all lead to him eventually being an owner of a major league ball club, hopefully here in Sacramento. So hopefully he doesn't buy the team once they move to Vegas and just be the owner of the A's in Vegas. I really hope that doesn't happen. That will be really upsetting. But anyway, thanks you guys for listening. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. I'm a little heartbroken today, and I haven't done the show at all this season. This is the first show that I'm doing of this new season, and I just felt like I needed to get on. So, thanks you guys for listening. If you could please give us a like, click subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and start posting some stuff on the regular. I don't know if I'll do what I did last year and do the whole post at the end of a series and review that series and preview the upcoming series. I don't know if I'll quite get that heavy into it, but I definitely want to post on a regular basis. So if you could please click subscribe and click that little notification bell to receive notification when we post our new stuff. Thanks you guys. Appreciate it.